Good morning, friends. How are you all doing today? Welcome to Little's Lab. My name is Kim. I am a community learning specialist with Do Space. And this month for Little's Lab, we are exploring our worlds. We're learning and kind of we've been talking about all month long different ways how to explore your world. And there are a lot of ways you could do that, right? There are so many different ways you can explore your world. I mean, it could be really big, right? It could be so big where you can learn about other countries. You can learn about how our oceans work and how different things in our world works, like, how do trees grow, things like that. And sometimes it can be as easy and simple as, what is this plant that is living in my backyard? Or what kind of bug is that? Or I hear that bird singing. What bird is that? So there are so many different ways that you can explore your world. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And today we're going to read a story about different critters that may live in a garden. Maybe some of you might have a garden at home. And, it's kind of cool to, learn about how plants grow and what about what lives in your garden or your backyard. So we're going to read a little story about a busy garden. And then I have a really fun and cool app that allows you to take pictures of different plants. And then the app can tell you what kind of plant that is, which is really cool to learn about. Maybe different plants that might live in your backyard, or maybe if you go on walks in your neighborhood or go on walks in the park, you can just take a picture and you can learn about what plant that is. So we're going to be doing that today. But before we get started with that, I want to ask you, how do you explore your world? What are some things you can explore how do you do that? And like I said, it could be really big things. Sometimes it's eating new foods. Maybe you have recently tried new foods that are not, maybe you don't usually eat at home. Maybe they're from foods from other cultures, other countries that maybe we don't eat here in the United States, or even in our state of Nebraska. So there are places that states in our country of the United States that they eat completely different types of food than we do here in Nebraska. So maybe you're trying different foods. Maybe you are learning a new skill, because that can help you explore your world. Maybe it's reading new books about different places that are, a little bit different from your home. How do you explore your world? I know one way I love to explore my world is I love to go on hikes. So I love to go hiking, whether it's here in Nebraska or other states or even other countries. I love going on hikes because it gives you just a different perspective. It lets you see different things. You can see different animals, different plants, different views of your world. So I really love that. I really love going on hikes. How do you explore your world? If at any point you want to put something in our chat with the help of your grown-up, or you can just talk about it with whoever you're with. You can do that too. How do you explore your world? And so if you ever feel like you want to share with us, let us know. Let me know. Perfect. Well, first thing we are going to do is we are going to look at our calendar, because that is a really good way to learn not just about numbers and our days of the week, but about our months and, kind of about the season that we're in and about special days. And the really cool thing about our month today is that it includes a holiday that we don't celebrate here in the United States. It's celebrated in another country. And so that's another way that we can explore our world, is learning about other countries and learning about different cultures. So I am going to share with you our calendar that I like to use. And so we are going to go to a website called Starfall. And I like to go to the kindergarten. And then I'm going to go over to the right where it says it has a calendar. So I'm going to give that a touch. And we are about to start our calendar to learn about what's going on in the month that we're in right now. Now, if you are new to Little's Lab and you've never been to a Little's Lab here in the building at Do Space, then you might not know that in our Little's Lab room, we have a really big touchscreen monitor or touchscreen kind of computer that you can touch. And when I do Little's Lab, when I did them in our building, I would ask our kiddos to come up and touch it, and that would kind of move our website along. Now, I know we can't do that for realsies, but we're going to pretend. I want you to pretend with me, and I'm actually going to move us along, but I want you to pretend that you're helping me. And I'm going to do that. I want you to do that by touching the screen where I tell you to. So for example, you should see a big white triangle in the middle of your screen. Can you go ahead and touch that white triangle? Go ahead and touch that right triangle. And when you do, our screen changed, right? And you should see the name of our month that we're in, and the numbers are the year that we're in. So let's start with our month. So that first word is the month that we're in. And can you guys share with me, do you know what the name of the name of the letter, I wanted you to share with us, do you know what our very first letter is? Share with us if you want to type it in our chat, or if you want to maybe tell whoever you're with, share with whoever you're with. What is that very first letter in that very first word? Is it our letter M? It is, it's our letter M. So our month starts with the letter M. And does anybody know what the name of that month is called that starts with our letter M? It is the month of May. We are in the month of May, and we are getting to near the end of our month of May, right? We'll see that in just a second. So we are in the month of May, and we are in the year 2020, 2020. Perfect. Okay, so you should see a big green arrow on the bottom right of your screen. Can you go ahead and touch that green arrow for me? Go ahead and touch that green arrow. And you should see your screen change. And now you should see our calendar of May. So at the very top, you should see May 2020. And right under that is our days of the week. And we have 7 days of the week that we repeat every week, throughout every month, throughout the year. And so my question for you is, do you know what our 7 days of the weeks are? I bet you do. Let's say them all together. Should we say them all together? Let's say them. I'm going to say them with you, and you say them with whoever you're with. And let's start with Sunday. So there's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Perfect. Good job. And does anybody know what today's day of the week is? Do we know what today is? It comes after Monday and before Wednesday. And it starts with our letter T. Today is our Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. That is our day of the week. And you should see on your screen Tuesday being pointed at, and it is golden, and it was glittery just a second ago. Can you go ahead and touch our Tuesday for us? Let's go ahead and touch Tuesday. So today is Tuesday. That's our day of the week. Our month is called May, May. And then that number is our date today, and it's a pretty big number. It's a pretty big number. So if you don't know that number, that's okay. And so our date today is made up of 2 numbers. Our first number is our number 2, and then our second number is our number 6. There we go. So when a 2 is in front of a 6, we get the day, or we get the number 26. So today is the 26th day of May. So it's a pretty big number. Okay, so you should see that green arrow again. Let's go ahead and touch that green arrow one more time. Perfect. And now we need to fill in the missing day of the week and our missing date. So you should see where our days of the week are. There is a blank where our Tuesday should go. Let's put our Tuesday where it needs to go. So just give it a touch, and we're going to drag it over with our finger where it needs to go. Excellent. And then let's do the same thing with our 26th day of May. So let's put that in where it needs to go. Nice work. Okay, let's touch that green arrow again. So you guys should see that there are some little pictures or some icons that are on certain days in our month. And we are going to talk about some of those days because there's a couple of them that we sometimes celebrate here in the United States, but are celebrated in other countries as well. So it's good to learn for exploring our world, because we're going to learn a little bit about different places in our world. So the first day I want to talk about is on Tuesday. So the same day of the week as today, our Tuesday, May 5th. And so you should see on Tuesday, May 5th, like a little hat icon. And it's special for two reasons. The first one I'm going to talk about is the day we celebrated teachers. It was Teachers' Day on Tuesday, May 5th. And that is such a great day to help recognize the really incredible people that help teach us, right? Our teachers. I bet you have some very special teachers in your life, and you will all throughout your life. You're going to have teachers all throughout your life. And as you get older, and it's so good because our teachers work so hard. So that is a special day that we celebrate our teachers. But it also is another day called Cinco de Mayo. And you may not have heard that before, Cinco de Mayo. And that is because it is in a different language. That Cinco de Mayo is in Spanish. And so what it means is 5th of May. It literally translates to the date. So the word cinco means 5 in Spanish, and Mayo is May in Spanish. And so when you say Cinco de Mayo, it's 5th of May. And so that is a holiday that primarily is celebrated in a part of Mexico called Pueblo. And it signifies a battle that the people of Pueblo, they defeated a French army back a long time ago, over 100 years ago, back in the 1800s. And so, and we sometimes celebrate that day here in the United States as well. So that is Cinco de Mayo on May 5th. We had another special day on Sunday, May 10th, on the 10th of May. And that is a day that we celebrated our moms, right? It was Mother's Day on Sunday, May 10th. And so that's a day we celebrate the special ladies in our life, any caregivers, grandmas, mothers, women who take care of us. So that was on Sunday, May 5th. Our next icon you should see looks like a crown. And that is a day on Monday, May 18th. And it is called Victoria Day. And that's another day that we don't celebrate here in the United States. It's celebrated in the country of Canada, which is just straight north of us. And it celebrates a queen named Victoria, she was the Queen of England back a long time ago, over 100 years ago. And so they celebrate that in the country of Canada. So another cool way to learn about somewhere else in our world. And then our last icon or picture you should see was yesterday on Monday, May 25th. And you should see a couple little flags, and that was Memorial Day. And so that's a day that we celebrate people who served for our country and have passed. So that was a celebration for our military folks and people that are no longer with us. So you might have had a grown-up that had the day off to help celebrate. Probably you didn't go outside because it was a bit rainy, wasn't it? It was kind of a rainy day. So, but yeah, that was celebrated yesterday. So my next question for you is, I want to know about birthdays, but specifically, I want to know about people who have birthdays in our month of May, because I have a birthday and I know you have a birthday, but you might not have a birthday in our month of May, or maybe you do. And if you have a birthday in your month of May, let me know in the chat. If you have a birthday in our month of May, let me know in the chat. And if you don't, that's okay, because Not everybody has a birthday every month, right? Like my birthday is in a little bit, in a couple months. Ooh, we have our friend Janice, and that has a birthday on May 20th. So, oh my goodness, we are going to put a piece of birthday cake on Wednesday, May 20th, and she turned 5 that day. So happy birthday. Happy birthday. I hope you had some really yummy cake. Excellent. Anybody else? And again, if you don't, that's okay. Well, it doesn't look like it, but I'm glad we had one friend that had a birthday. So happy birthday on May 20th. Perfect. Okay, friends, we are going to move on. So thank you for helping me out with my calendar. I really appreciate it. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to read a story. And we are going to be reading a story called My Busy Green Garden. And so, like I said, kind of learning about things in your backyard is a great way to explore your world, because there's a whole different type of world out there with bugs and animals and plants that we might not see every day. And so this will be a little story that kind of talks about different little critters that are in our garden. Do you have a garden? Or do you like to explore your backyard or places outside your house? Let me know in the chat if you do. So what I'm going to open up a app called Epic Books. That's not what I wanted. There we go. We are going to read a story called My Busy Green Garden by Terry Pierce. So let's see what happens in this busy green garden. So My Busy Green Garden. This is my busy green garden. Look at this. There's so many things going on in this busy green garden, right? I see, what are some of the plants or animals you see? I see a chipmunk and a spider and a rabbit and some daisies and some lilies and some morning glories. There's a lot going on in this busy green garden. Let's see what else is happening. There's a surprise in a clever disguise that hangs in my busy green garden. Can you find that surprise in a clever disguise? What do you think you see that's hanging? What about right kind of in the middle? There's a little green pod, right? That's hanging from that branch. What do you think's in there that's a surprise in that clever disguise? Let's find out. This is the ladybug dwaddling so near the surprise in a clever disguise that hangs in my busy green garden. Do you guys like ladybugs? I love ladybugs. I think they're so cute, and it's so much fun when they land on you, right? So this ladybug is hanging out by the surprise in the clever disguise. This is a honeybee buzzing below, the red-spotted ladybug dwaddling so near the surprise in the clever disguise that hangs in my busy green garden. So now we can see, can you find all three things? Can you find our honeybee that's right up front? And honeybees are so important for us, right? Because they pollinate our trees and our flowers, and they're so important. You can see that ladybug on that white daisy. And then can you still find the surprise? This is a hummingbird fluttering round, the hurrying honeybee buzzing below, the red-spotted ladybug dwaddling so near the surprise in a clever disguise that hangs in my busy green garden. Ooh, so we've added another animal to our search. So now you can see that hummingbird fluttering so. What is that hummingbird doing? Is it eating some nectar from the flowers? Yeah. Have you ever seen a hummingbird? They are amazing little tiny birds, aren't they? This is an inchworm who creeps up and down, dodging the hummingbird fluttering round, the hurrying honeybee buzzing below, the red-spotted ladybug dwaddling so near the surprise in clever disguise that hangs in my busy green garden. Ooh, so can you find that inchworm? You see the inchworm? It's right underneath that hummingbird, right? So that hummingbird, that inchworm's trying to avoid that hummingbird. Can you find all of our other friends that we've talked about before? They're kind of hidden. Lots going on in this busy green garden. This is a mantis awaiting his prey, spying the inchworm who creeps up and down, dodging the hummingbird fluttering round, the hurrying honeybee buzzing below, the red-spotted ladybug dawdling so, near the surprise in clever disguise that hangs in my busy green garden. Ooh, so that, I bet that praying mantis might want to eat up that inchworm. So that inchworm has to get away from that praying mantis. Praying mantis are pretty cool little bugs as well, aren't they? This is a dragonfly dashing away that startled the mantis awaiting his prey, spying the inchworm who creeps up and down, dodging the hummingbird fluttering round, the hurrying honeybee buzzing below, the red-spotted ladybug dawdling so, near the surprise in clever disguise that hangs in my busy green garden. So now we have that dragonfly up top, right? Have you ever seen a dragonfly before? A lot of times they live near water. And so can you find all of our other friends, the inchworm, the ladybug, the honeybee? What about the surprise in the clever disguise? Can you see it in this picture too? These are the ants that are tracking their scout, ignoring the dragonfly dashing away that startles the mantis awaiting his prey, spying the inchworm who creeps up and down, dodging the hummingbird fluttering round, the hurrying honeybee buzzing below, the red-spotted ladybug dawdling so, near the surprise in clever disguise that hangs in my busy green garden. Ooh, so can you find those ants? Can you find the ants in our picture? I can see them on that lily, right? Look at that lily. Can you find everything else? Can you find everything else? What's next? Oh, this is a grasshopper leaping about, vaulting the ants that are tracking their scout, ignoring the dragonfly dashing away that startles the mantis awaiting his prey, spying the inchworm who creeps up and down, dodging the hummingbird fluttering round, the hurrying honeybee buzzing below, the red-spotted ladybug dawdling so, near the surprise in clever disguise that hangs in my busy green garden. I don't think a garden is complete without a grasshopper, right? I'm sure we'll start seeing a few more grasshoppers as the summer continues. Can you find some of our other friends in this picture? Ooh, what's next? This is a chickadee, hungry and quick. He chases the grasshopper bounding about that scatters the ants that are tracking their scout, that flee from the dragonfly dashing away, that muddles the mantis awaiting his prey, that jiggles the inchworm who creeps up and down, that flusters the hummingbird fluttering round, that angers the honeybee buzzing below, that launches the ladybug dawdling so, that bumps the surprise in the clever disguise. Oh man, this chickadee really disrupted things, didn't it? Let's see what happens next. In the clever disguise that wriggles and writhes and stretches and flies, what do you think is going to come out of that clever disguise? Away from my busy green garden. What did it turn into? A butterfly. It was a chrysalis where caterpillars turn into butterflies. And so that was what's in the surprise in clever disguise, because it kind of looked like a leaf, right? But it wasn't really a leaf. It wasn't. It was a place for a caterpillar to turn into a butterfly. And so that was going on in this busy green garden. Do you think your backyard or your garden has as much activity going on? I bet if you just spent maybe 5 or 10 minutes just hanging out, I bet you would see all sorts of activities from different bugs and different insects and different animals that would come through. Because a lot goes on in those busy green gardens, right? Nice. Well, thanks for joining me with our story time. So the next thing we are going to do, friends, is I'm going to open up a really cool app. And you should see at the very last row, in the very last app, you should see an app that says PlantNet. PlantNet. And we are going to open that up to help us learn, take pictures. So now what you should see is my screen. And so I've opened up our app, and this is what I'm going to do. I have some plants with me that I'm going to take pictures of, and hopefully our app will help us learn about what kind of plant or flower they are. So for example, the icon on the left says camera, so I'm going to open that up. And so now you should see what I see on my iPad. And what do you see right now? You should be able to see a little branch of flowers. And so I'm just going to take a picture of that right here. And so I want to use that. That looks like a good picture to me. And so we need to choose what we think this is. So we have different options, right? If we thought it was a leaf, we could pick leaf. If we thought it was a fruit, we could pick fruit. But since these are flowers, I'm going to pick the flower option on the right-hand side. And we're going to see if we can find out what it is. And it gives us different options. So if we look at the very top results, those pictures look a lot like ours. Let's see if I tap on one. Does that look like our flowers? It does. Those look like the flower of the picture I just took. What about this one? That looks right about the same. So if you look under it, it says common lilac. So I think this is a common lilac. And if we look, it gives us all the different pictures that other people have taken to help identify what flower I brought in. And so lilacs come in all different shades, don't they? Look at that. And lots of different purples and whites. They are just so pretty. And if you ever go by a lilac bush, give it a smell, because lilacs smell amazing. At least in my opinion. I love the smell of lilacs. So now if I didn't know what this flower, this little bush was, now I know it was a lilac bush. So there is a lilac bush in my backyard. But it doesn't work just for flowers. I also have a tree in my backyard. And so I am going to go back, and I am going to bring up my camera again, and I cut off a couple of leaves from the tree that's in my backyard. So I'm going to zoom in on one of my leaves, and I'm just going to take a picture, and we're going to see if it can help us identify what kind of tree is living in my backyard. And again, I can choose what kind of option I want. Last time we picked flowers, and I know this is a leaf this time, so I'm going to choose leaf. And it's going to send. And so now it's going to give us options of what kind of tree this could be. And so now we can kind of compare the pictures. So that's my picture that I took at the very top. And let's look at some of the pictures below. So it could be a Norway maple, which I'm not sure if that's the right one. If you kind of look at this picture right here, the lobes look a little bit different, right? So I'm not sure if it's a Norway maple. And another option is a sugar maple. Let's take a look at the sugar maple. And though that leaf looks a little bit different too, you can tell this one's pointier. You can tell the ends are a little bit pointier than the leaf that I have. So then it makes me wonder, is it a hedge maple? Let's take a look at this hedge maple. That one maybe looks a little bit similar to mine. So I may not know what specific type of maple it is, but now I know that it's a type of maple. And so the thing about these kind of apps is they're not going to be always 100% accurate, but at least it can give you an idea of what kind of plant you might have. And so I now know that it's probably not any of these type of maples, but it's definitely a type of maple tree, just because the general shape of the leaf is so similar to all of these different types of maple trees. So I know I have some sort of maple tree in my backyard, which is pretty cool. And so so like I said, you could choose from flower, you can choose from fruit. You could probably, if you have, like I said, a garden in your backyard, maybe you forgot what you planted and it starts growing up. Like, for example, there was one year I planted a garden and I didn't label where all the plants went. So once they started to grow up, the leaves started coming up, I forgot what type of plant they were. You could use an app like this to be like, to take a picture of those leaves and maybe find out what kind of vegetables you planted based off the leaves. It's pretty cool. So friends, we are nearing the end of our time for Little's Lab. So I'm going to go back to me. So you should be able to see me again. And I'm just going to say thank you so much for joining me for Little's Lab today. I so appreciate it. We will be back again on Saturday, doing a new book and a different app. And I just want to remind you that Saturday, May 30th, there we go. On Saturday, May 30th, we are doing our summer kickoff. So if you want to join us for some webinars all day long, we have some really fun webinars. We're going to be talking about our passport program, which if you've been to DoSpace in the past, we did these really cool things called passports. And we're going to be doing that again. It's just going to be more of a digital version that you can participate in. And we'll still have our Little's Lab webinar, and we'll have a few make-along webinars that are going to be kid-friendly as well. So hopefully you can join us again on Saturday, May 30th, and we'll be doing a different app and a different story. And our kickoff starts at 9 o'clock, and then Little's Lab will be at 9:30. If you need to learn more, you can always go to our calendar at dospace.org. So anyway, again, thank you for joining me for Little's Lab, and we hope to see you soon. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.